number 3 for us would be power. Okay, power. So that's self-sufficiency. Power would be I guess a backup generator or a solar system of some description. Okay, so but today's video. Hey guys, welcome to AsherGad channel, making Africa home again, one family at a time. Here we are again, as usual, Tuesday, 6 p.m. GMT, and we're going to continue our self-sufficiency series here tonight. We started this new series last week where we talked about our farm, and then really we want to talk about 3 main categories. You've got your water, really, which we feel is number 1. Then comes your food. Hence, we're encouraging everybody to sort of grow your own food, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in a big city or in a village or wherever you are. You can start growing your own food, small scale to large scale, whatever the case may be. Now, number 3 for us would be power. Okay, power. So that's self-sufficiency. Power would be, I guess a backup generator or a solar system of some description. Okay, so but today's video, we want to really focus on how to make your solar system cheaper. How can you make your solar system more affordable? How can you make some certain modifications to the solar system that can serve a purpose on day 1, and then you can add in some extra features as as time goes by and as you get more finances, or especially as these solar panels become cheaper. Let's hope they become cheaper later on, as more people buy it, and as the research gets better and better. Okay, so now before I get into how I think one can have a cheaper solar installation, first of all, I want to redefine or describe again what a hybrid inverter is, because the system I'm going to be describing is one that uses a hybrid inverter. Okay, I've done a number of videos on this in the past. Okay, and if you haven't watched any of them, just click up here for this particular video of solar basics, and that will help you understand what I'm going to say. So, what is a hybrid inverter? Now, every solar system has an inverter, because the inverter simply converts the energy from the sun or through the panels, which comes to the inverter as a direct current or DC current, and the inverter changes the DC into alternating current, which is AC current, to use in your home. Now, the hybrid inverter works on the principle of SBU, which I've said many times on this channel, and that is priority number 1 being solar, 2 battery, and then 3 the utility. Okay, all that means is that in normal mode, okay, whatever your solar system is supporting during the day will be supported by your solar panels, by the energy of the sun. Now, if the solar panels are generating more power than the house needs during the day, then the excess power is charging your batteries, which is absolutely wonderful. Okay, excess power is charging your batteries. I have a diagram on your screen, right? The excess power is charging your batteries, okay? So that in the night time, when the sun disappears, the energy stored in your batteries will now take over to supply the power or the loads in your house, okay? Solar, then battery. Now, what does the U mean? U means utility, or in Ghana sense, ECG. Now, if you have a scenario where in the evening, let's say the batteries did not get that much charge, so in the evening the batteries support the home for, but let's say depending on the quantity of batteries you have, after about 3 hours the battery charge runs out or it depletes. What happens is that when you have a hybrid inverter, ECG takes over the power. The ECG goes through the inverter, it charges the batteries as well as serves your house load. Okay, and then when the batteries are fully charged up to 100%, ECG goes away again, allowing the battery to take over the load. Okay, Even during the day, if you had an overcast day, maybe it's a Hamatan or whatever it may be, you're not getting enough power from the sun and there's not enough charge in the battery, again, ECG will come in, charge the batteries and support the load as well. When I say ECG, it doesn't have to be ECG. You could also arrange the system so that you had a changeover, so that it's either ECG or your backup generator that comes in the input to the hybrid inverter that can supply the building as well as charge the batteries. Okay, so you've got a multi-purpose system there really. And I recommend that fully. If you're going to get a solar system, try to get the inverter to be hybrid so that it has an input from the sun energy via the solar panels, an input from the DC batteries, as well as a utility input. That's the most resilient setup that you want. Now let's say you have a 4-bedroom house, and realistically, if you wanted to support all the building loads, the air conditioning, the water pumps and everything in a 4-bedroom house, I mean, that would be a significant solar system. You're probably looking in the region of 20 or 25 kVA as a solar inverter, which could cost you quite a bit, together with the batteries and the solar panels. Okay, so let's say on day one you only have a certain amount of money. What you could do, you could buy the 20 or 25 kVA hybrid inverter. You could buy that as one that can serve the whole house. Okay, but you do not have to buy all the batteries that you need on day one. You do not even need to buy any of the solar panels on day one, because the solar panels come with a cost as well. What you can do, you install the inverter, okay, then you buy a certain number of batteries to suit your essential loads only, okay? To suit your essential loads only. What loads are essential? To my mind, essential loads would be your lighting. So obviously you need to see where you're going at night. So lighting is essential, okay? If you want to get some ventilation going, if you're somebody who needs air conditioning, but obviously when the lights are out, you don't want to have the air conditioning on because of the impact on the solar system. So therefore you want at least some ceiling fans going. So you have a selection of ceiling fans on the solar system, or the batteries. Sockets, because you want to have be able to plug in your laptop and charge your phones, etc. And also, most importantly, you want to be able to keep your fridges and your freezers going. Okay, so these are what I would term as essential loads. Okay, and you can analyze these loads in your building and decide the extent of batteries that you want on day one. Okay, you can decide how much you want on day one. Your solar system expert, whoever that person is, can come around and help you make that decision. Okay, so when you lose ECG or you lose mains, all you have to do is simply turn off all the non-essential loads, as in the air conditioners, the water pumps, etc. Because hopefully you would have water in your tanks. Okay, now for example, let's say your house load was 800 watts. Now, it is important that you understand your house loads. Okay, if you're going to put solar in your house and it's in an existing house, it's important that you try and understand your house loads. Okay, because if you understand your house loads throughout the day and night, then you understand what your maximum power is, right? And how long, if you buy a set of batteries, how long the batteries can sustain that load. For example, if I went out there and purchased a 1x48 volt 120 amp hour, sorry, a 2x48 volt 120 amp hour batteries, okay, that would give me 11,520 watt hours. Okay, if my house load, my existing house load was, let's say, about 800 watts, then if you divide 11,520 by 800, you get about 14 hours, which means if ECG fails and you haven't got generator, your batteries, these two batteries that you have, 248 volt batteries that you have, will be able to take care of your house loads for 14 hours, which is not bad. Not bad at all, okay? Not bad. So if you understand your house loads, it can help allow you to make an informed, cost-effective solution on day one, okay? And as you go along, as you obtain more finances in the future, you can then add the solar panels in. Okay, as long as you've allowed enough roof space for the future, with the right provisions, you have your ducts going up to the roof, you can then add the solar panels as and when you can financially. And there you go. That would help spread out the cost and make it a bit more economical for you. Now, let me give an example. Are you looking to build your dream home in Ghana? Or are you building already? Would you benefit from regular site visits to monitor your building and receive regular progress reports? Well, if that's the case, and that's you, look no further. AsherGad Consultancy at your service. We offer the following services: electrical design, construction monitoring inspections, site progress reports, consultation for all items MEP, witnessing of testing and commissioning, periodic snagging, vetting of specialist subcontractors. We also report site activities to you to hopefully help you spend your money efficiently and much, much more. Get in contact for your building needs. Details on the screen. AsherGad Consultancy, making Africa home again, one family at a time. Okay. Now, this example really comes from someone I know who did exactly this same thing, applied this same strategy, and basically, I think they went to a company, I think it was Galaxy, and they purchased 2 lithium-ion batteries, okay, 2 48-volt, 120 amp-hour lithium-ion batteries, which gave you the same number I talked about earlier on, 11,520 watt-hours. Okay, they then also purchased a Huawei solar hybrid inverter. Huawei is a very good brand, especially here in Ghana, very good brand. Okay, basically the inverter, this was purchased, remember this date, this was purchased in August this year, so that's 2 months ago. Okay, the hybrid inverter, which is a 5.5 kilowatt hybrid inverter, cost 2 months ago 7,800 Ghana cedis. Okay, 7,800 Ghana cedis, cost in pounds and dollars on your screen. The 2 lithium-ion batteries, 2 48-volt, 120 amp-hour lithium-ion batteries, cost a total 2 months ago of 30,500 Ghana cedis. Okay, which gives a total of 38,300 Ghana cedis. Okay, for the batteries and the inverter. Okay, which is more than adequate on day one to solve this person's needs, because this particular person hasn't got the budget, or didn't have the budget at the time, to buy all those expensive solar panels. So they're just using the inverter and the battery and ECG backup. Simple as that. Okay, which gives them some resilience. Okay, now 38,300 Ghana cedis is about, in today's exchange rate, in pound sterling, is 2,440 pounds or 2,800 US dollars. Okay, and that is not bad. That is not bad at all, because this all obviously depends on the area you live in. If you live in an area where the ECG is fairly stable, then this is a pretty good investment to have, and to add the solar panels later on. This is pretty good. However, I must put a disclaimer there, because the inflation in Ghana is a bit tricky these days. All right, this is 2 months ago. You're talking $2,800 2 months ago. If you're going to do that right now, I would suggest you put aside a budget of about, let's say, $4,000 instead of the $2,800, which is still not bad at all. Not bad at all for a resilient power installation in your home. Not bad, because if you wanted to put all the solar panels, that is way out there in cost. Now you can see, just to give you an example of what I mean, there's inflation all over the world, but to give you an example of what's happening in Ghana, you can see a typical, common sort of frito oil in Ghana, a picture on your screen. You can see how the price has changed over quite a relatively short period. So if you're building in Ghana, then which is fine, then just whatever you're buying, whether you need to buy air conditions, whatever it is you need to buy, try and buy in bulk and store as much as possible. And this actually brings me to a side note. I've been searching for a construction company that really can guarantee, a build price for a certain period, because there's certain, this is a side thing, not to do with today's topic, but there's certain tips and tricks in the industry where, they buy materials in advance, and they can really pay deposits and set the price. And Yehovah being so good, I believe I found a construction company who is doing fairly well in Ghana, who is able to offer their clients a set price depending on the type of build that they want and depending on the level of finishing that they want. So I hope to dig a bit more into that, and then we'll see if we can bring you a few more details on that another day. But that's a topic for another day. Okay. So now I've talked about making the solar installation cheaper on day one if you have an existing house. What about if you have a new house? If you have a new house and you're planning on installing solar, again, make it easier for yourself. Make it easier for yourself. If you don't want to go around having to switch off air conditionings and switch off things that your solar system cannot support, then I suggest on day one, you design your electrical installation so that, you design your electrical installation so that you have a dedicated distribution board, which I've done for a client very, very recently. You have a dedicated distribution board where all your essential loads are connected. That way, if your hybrid inverter is connected to that and ECG power is lost, you don't have to do anything. The solar system is only supporting what it needs to support. Okay, very, 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 very simple. Okay, now, just like you can add the solar panels as you go along in the future, okay, by the same token, by the same principle, you can also add more and more batteries as you go along. Okay, I'm showing a picture on your screen of a typical installation with just one battery. Okay, I'm showing a picture of a let's say a battery cabinet, and which can be as high as possible. You can get a 9U cabinet, a 27U cabinet. You can just keep on adding these cabinets and slotting the batteries in as you need them. Okay. Now the hybrid inverter tends to just be on the wall. Huawei inverter. There's various companies in Ghana that can get you this exact installation that I'm referring to. All right. Well, I hope that was useful. And if you have any questions, as usual, just drop us an email. You have our contact details from the advert that just played. Any questions you have, drop us a line, drop us an email. We've got more videos coming as usual. There are a couple of people who have asked me for some basic videos in terms of how the kitchen gas connects to the cooker, which is in my plan, and I believe I will do that very, very soon. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this series, this particular video. As usual, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you'll always be aware when you upload a new video for your educational and viewing pleasure. So from Gad is Chemist here, and for me, guys, Yebeshia. See you next time.